The gruesome truth about Humphrey Bogart is revealed by Lauren Bacall. Getting married. Her name was Betty Joan Persky, and she was born on September 16, 1924, in New York City. She rose to prominence as one of the most well-known and identifiable performers of the 1930s and 1940s. Her stunning appearance, deep voice, and distinctively seductive gaze helped her establish herself as a star. Currently, she is regarded as one of the finest actors in history. Her ascent to prominence did not begin with much excitement. Following the divorce of her parents, Bacall was raised by her mother. She gained strength and determination that will serve her well in the fiercely competitive entertainment industry. She paid for her acting courses at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts by working as a model and a theater usher. After spotting her in a gorgeous photo, Harper's Bazaar informed director Howard Hawks' wife about her. Her life was forever altered by this awful incident. When Bacall was just 19 years old, she was teamed with Humphrey Bogart for the 1944 film To Have and Have Not. In addition to launching her career, the role provided people their first glimpse of her now famous upward glare and lowered chin. Her on-screen persona was defined by this face, which was initially partially the result of nervousness. Not only was it her debut film, but it also marked the beginning of a well-known Hollywood romance. While filming, Bacall and Bogart fell in love, despite the fact that they were of different ages and that Bogart was married at the time. Their connection enthralled the globe, and in 1945, following Bogart's divorce, the two were married. They were among Hollywood's most well-liked and enduring couples. Together, they starred in numerous films, including Key Largo, 1948, Dark Passage, 1947, and The Big Sleep, 1946. Although they had a lot of chemistry on screen, their fame came from their affection for one another off-screen. According to Bacall, her marriage to him was the happiest period of her life. In 1957, Bogart passed away from cancer too soon, leaving Bacall devastated. It was extremely difficult for her to start over in both her life and her career as a widowed mother of two. For a time, she depended on close friends like Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Additionally, she briefly became engaged to Frank Sinatra before their relationship terminated. Despite her personal struggles, Bacall continued to maintain a steady career in Hollywood. She was determined to make a name for herself beyond being Bogart's wife and refused to be typecast. She collaborated with directors and celebrities of the same caliber, demonstrating that her abilities were independent. Bacall's work with Bogart was just one aspect of her career. She demonstrated that she could launch a profitable company on her own when he passed away. She eventually progressed to roles that demonstrated her versatility, portraying strong, self-reliant women that were similar to herself. In the 1950s and 1960s, she starred in films such as Young Man with a Horn, 1950, Written on the Wind, 1956, and Designing Woman, 1957. She later achieved success on stage, receiving recognition for her performances in Broadway productions such as Applause and Cactus, Flower. A Tony Award was given to her for her performance in Applause in 1970. Bacall demonstrated that she was more than simply a lovely movie star. She was a serious performer who could perform well in a wide range of films. Compared to the early noir films she starred in, her success was far more widespread. Bacall transitioned between sections with ease. She demonstrated her wit and comedic timing, for instance, in comedies such as How to Marry a Millionaire, 1953, in which she co-starred alongside Marilyn Monroe and Betty Grable. She enjoyed greater success on Broadway later in life. She received Tony Awards for Woman of the Year, 1981, and Applause, 1970. She continued to play challenging roles in films such as Murder on the Orient Express, 1974, and The Mirror Has Two Faces, 1996, earning her recognition from critics and a nomination for Best Supporting Actress at the Academy Awards. Actress Lauren Bacall was much more than that. She represented strength, self-reliance, and sophistication. She exuded charm and authority with her smoky, rich voice, which has been imitated numerous times but never equaled. In real life, she was vocal, involved in the public sphere, and unafraid to defend her convictions. She appreciated honesty in both her personal and professional life, which won her admirers and colleagues over. In addition, she authored the National Book Award-winning memoir By Myself, 1978, and Now, 1994. Both were truthful descriptions of her extraordinary existence. Several of Hollywood's most respected celebrities had a close relationship with Lauren Bacall's personal life. Her marriages were characterized by difficult issues as well as intense affection. Her first and most well-known husband was the well-known actor Humphrey Bogart. In 1945, when she was just 20 and he was 45, they were married. Bacall's career began on the set of To Have and Have Not, 1944, one of the most well-known love tales in Hollywood history, where they first met. They soon became as close friends in real life as they were on television. Their romance developed into a marriage that established a benchmark for love and fidelity in a field where partnerships sometimes terminate abruptly, despite the fact that they were many years apart in age. When Bacall married Bogart, she became one half of the Bogey and Bacall myth. She played a significant role in the heyday of Hollywood as well. Together they have 2 children, Stephen and Leslie, and for 12 years, their union represented safety, sophistication, and creating art together. Their brief relationship came to an end in 1957 when Bogart passed away from throat cancer. Bacall lost her husband when she was just 32 years old. She was devastated by the loss, and although she persevered with amazing fortitude, she would later claim that Bogart was her true love. A few years later, Bacall was enticed into yet another significant union. This time, it was with the legendary Jason Robards, who later won multiple Tony Awards and an Academy Award for his stage and film achievements. When they were married in 1961, Bacall was anticipating a new life of contentment and stability. The marriage resulted in Bacall's son, actor Sam Robards, further tying her family to the entertainment industry. However, Robards' drinking habit made life at home extremely difficult. Thus, the relationship was troubled from the beginning. Despite Bacall's best efforts, the issues were too much for them to manage, and by 1969, they were divorced. Following the devastating passing of Bogart, Bacall was once more forced to manage her life alone. But in addition to having children and life-changing experiences from both of her marriages, Bacall gained a reputation as a strong, elegant, and sincere lady who recognized the difficulties of love. Her unions with Jason Robards and Humphrey Bogart were rather dissimilar. One was a well-known love tale that ended tragically when the lovers passed away. A challenging marriage that ended in divorce was the other. Together, however, they demonstrate Bacall's profound humanity and her ability to gracefully deal with both joy and sorrow. One of the most well-known celebrities in Hollywood was Lauren Bacall. She gained notoriety for her smoky voice, gorgeous appearance, and her brief liaison with Humphrey Bogart. Their marriage appeared to be a fairy tale to everyone outside their family, complete with vintage Hollywood romance and grace. However, when no one was present, Bacall herself admitted that the reality frequently differed greatly from what people believed about her. Bacall didn't hold back when discussing the shortcomings and harsh truths of her marriage in subsequent interviews. She exposed the disgusting truth about her life with Bogart, removing the glittering mask of celebrity. Humphrey was never an easy guy, Bacall revealed in one of her most candid moments. Although he may be cruel, unkind, and self-centered, he is generally seen as a tough, kind man with a huge heart. People had no idea what living with him would be like. It was frequently lonely and occasionally embarrassing. Her remarks surprised those who had long cherished the romantic recollection of Bogey and Bacall. However, it was crucial that Bacall made it apparent that the reality was far more nuanced. She claimed that her life was frequently terrible because to Bogart's addictions. He was constantly drinking. Sometimes, when he was by himself with me, his friends from Hollywood would laugh and joke till the sun came up. He was an entirely different person when he drank. He could become unpleasant, angry, and even rude. Seeing this well-respected man turn into a filthy, irate alcoholic at home was abhorrent. According to Bacall, most people didn't see this side of Bogart since the studio structure meticulously managed his image. However, she had to deal with it on a daily basis. Their marriage was also complicated by Bogart's notorious arrogance and demeanor. He enjoyed having complete control. Bacall acknowledged it. If I sought to make my own decisions, even if they were minor ones, he would become upset. Since he was older, more renowned, and more significant in the company, he believed that his word should always be definitive. That infuriated me. I had the impression that I was trapped in a marriage where my opinions were irrelevant. When Bogart married Bacall at the age of 20, he was already in his mid-40s. Their relationship was under a lot of stress because of their stark age gap. Bacall also mentioned how she occasionally felt like an item, treated more like a trophy than a partner. I was supposed to be the ideal wife, according to Humphrey. When he wanted me to be on his arm, he wanted me to be lovely. And when he wanted me to be silent, He wanted me to be obedient to his commands. I had a deep affection for him, but there were days when I thought I had sacrificed everything for him. The worst reality of all was that I allowed myself to fade away in order to maintain the impression of a contented marriage. Bacall never disputed that she loved Bogart and that they shared passionate and affectionate moments, despite her melancholy statements. People shouldn't assume that our relationship wasn't positive. There were moments when I truly believed in the miracle of our love because he made me laugh and feel tender. However, people must understand that love and marriage are two different things. You may feel confined or mistreated in a marriage even if you have a deep affection for someone. Bogey and I were just like that. Her words struck so close to home because of their unvarnished honesty. Bacall had long been seen as a tough, self-reliant lady in Hollywood. She also demonstrated what she had sacrificed for that well-known romance by discussing the negative aspects of her marriage. Both of them were aware that she and Bogart would likely go down in history as one of the greatest Hollywood romances. But she wanted the truth to be known by history. I have to be honest with myself about what transpired. She frequently sobbed herself to sleep with a man who was regarded as ideal by everyone. The beautiful picture that periodicals present is not the true story. As she grew older, Bacall appeared to reflect on her life with a mixture of acceptance and rage. Although she had experienced a remarkable period in Hollywood history, she refused to allow her recollections to alter the reality. In addition to being a fantastic performer, Humphrey Bogart had a terrible personality. Our marriage was filled with love, suffering, and disappointment. Behind the shine, it was frequently difficult, unsightly, and depressing. That is the repulsive truth. People ought to be aware of that. Bacall's candor dispelled the notion of the ideal Hollywood marriage. Instead of creating a romantic ideal, she depicted two individuals struggling with addiction, control, power, and heartbreak. By doing this, she left a legacy that was far more relatable and real, allowing even well-known individuals like Lauren Bacall to acknowledge that love alone wasn't always sufficient to overcome marital problems. On August 12, 2014, Lauren Bacall passed away. She was among the last surviving celebrities from the heyday of Hollywood. She died following a massive stroke in her longtime residence at the Dakota, a renowned apartment complex in Manhattan's Upper West Side that has housed numerous well-known individuals, artists, and cultural icons over the years. Its Gothic-style facade overlooking Central Park makes the Dakota instantly recognizable to many. Additionally, it has traditionally been associated with a sense of opulence and mystery. For Bacall, the Dakota was more than simply an address. It was a secure location where she spent a large portion of her senior years, reflecting on her devoted family and her lengthy and prosperous career. She was taken to New York Presbyterian Hospital, one of the city's top institutions, as soon as the stroke occurred. However, despite their best efforts, they were unable to revive her. News websites worldwide swiftly disseminated the tragic news that Lauren Bacall, who had one of the most iconic voices and faces in film history, had passed away at the age of 89. The hospital verified her death. Following her passing, Bacall was laid to rest at the opposite side of the nation, at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. This cemetery is home to numerous well-known individuals, such as entertainers, movie stars, and cultural icons. Given that Bacall was now a permanent part of Hollywood history, it was the ideal location for her burial. Fans were able to visit and pay tribute to her enduring influence, since she was buried at Forest Lawn, which served as both a return to the epicenter of the film industry and a permanent place in its history.